crediting BTG in any way.
Yeah, I mean, at any point it's going to be difficult. We're looking here at BTG with a a winless group stage so far. This could be their final map, and they have been many times, by the way, going to Sky Temple in that second slot.
Yeah, when they do end up choosing the map, it seems like Sky Temple's the place to go.
Yeah.
But it's...
This is normally...
To what end?
I mean, we could be wrong, but as casters, we've usually been saying that the team that definitively won the first map will take the other team to Sky Temple, because this is a very difficult map to come back from. And if you have any early game mistakes, the objective will spiral things out of control, fire straight at your keep, eventually the core, and you just have no home anywhere on this map if you are down and out. But it's BTG that goes against that theory.
Dignitas is going to go ahead and take out the Abathur, not wanting to deal with the possible, problematic endgame and mid-game he can provide. That being said, always talk about a team that maybe struggles in the early game and whether or not they're willing to pick the Abathur. It's always kind of a risk, I feel. There goes the first pick Tassadar, and I wouldn't be surprised if Poik's going to lock in a Tracer behind it.
Oh, that's 99% going to be a Tracer, and the problem for BTG is there's few teams and players in this world that are willing to run a Tracer without a Tassadar.
The few that are, I would say, like right now within this tournament that have shown it very, very recently, it's got to be like KSV, right? Normally, if they see this high Tassadar, you go Morales Tracer, and you deny the two, but you still have a good enough synergy.
So you Kyocha from KSV, Poik from Dignitas. And now that is the implicit threat here, that Dignitas' next pick will be Tracer and something. And does BTG have the ability to play Tracer here, the daring?
Great man, Rhaegar. They're not going to go ahead and get it. I want to see how long it takes Dignitas. Nope, that answers that question. Okay, 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think it was 2 Dignitas seconds, which is like 0.1 second. Same as how long the last fight basically took.
Yeah, geez, and Dignitas seconds. So now that we know Task Tracer's on the battlefield,
how do you counter it?
What do we do?
And there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, Varian. You get resets on your parry from the auto attacks. You can taunt her and kill her easily. Unfortunately, Varian is not a hero until level 10. And by that time, Sky Temple is over.
Yep, that's the problem. I don't think you could have said it better. Unfortunately, he does not have anything to be able to deal with it.
Seriously, when I play Varian, I just take the off lane, I just stand there, look at the wave, get XP, and once I'm level 10,
then you're like, okay, let's battle.
Good luck, have fun this game.
Yeah. Ban for BTG. When you have the Task Tracer ETC, I feel like I can't even see a must-have unless you're afraid of... They're afraid of a polybomb? But that's one of the few tools that generally we see teams take to counter the Tracer. I mean, she's out of the meta at this point to where I can see myself going, I'm more afraid of the offensive iteration of the Brightwing than I am the response to the Tracer in itself. But I don't see Dignitas wanting to be able to take that Brightwing, and I don't think it's worth the ban is what I'm trying to say. It's one of those... I don't mind it banning it out versus themselves. I feel like that's totally fine, but it's more so, is that really worth the ban in the first place?
No. Now, in terms of other effective Tracer counters, when there's Tassadar on the field too, there are none. But, moving past that, there's Uther.
A bit of an argument for Garrosh, and I know some...
Uther and Garrosh, I'm thinking.
Garrosh mainly because if Tracer somehow face checks or goes anywhere into the wrong area, one flip, force a recall, usually Groundbreaker if that hits.
Or Warlord's Challenge.
Yeah, there's multiple tools to make it to where if she does not have her recall, which you can bait out one with one of those two, the other one hopefully is going to be the thing that makes sure that you're saying cheers love to her.
Yeah. I think Garrosh Uther would be the obvious choices. BTG had strong drafting for the most part last game. And I think that would fall in line with what you could expect. Uther's point-and-click stun, Garrosh's taunt, tools to deal with what Dignitas has. But Tassadar's wave clear is very good as well. So it's not only about countering Tracer, you also need to control the map. So after Garrosh Uther, who are not good at wave clear, you do of course already have Greymane Rhaegar, you would need one more macro hero with good wave clear.
I wouldn't mind maybe material composition for Beyond the Game. It can kind of deal with the amount of pressure that the Tracer puts on her own, and it would provide not only boss control.
Okay, so Garrosh yes, instead Lucio.
Lucio will be able to help Garrosh as well with his lack of mobility, try and make sure that he can try and get Tracer into those bad positions.
Because Garrosh without mobility is so difficult to get flips. Karazim gives him that, like we saw last game for Dignitas. So it's either Karazim, Lucio, or Tyrael that can give other heroes mobility reliably and regularly.
At this point, I don't feel like Dignitas is forced into any pick priority. It's really whatever they feel like is going to accent their comp best. I personally would like to see a Karazim for them. 7-sided to get pressure onto Garrosh, but then it works really well with Tassadar. Just anytime you get that double cross supporting, Karazim can upgrade himself. You know, he's not nearly as poor of that double or solo support by having Tassadar shields.
Yeah.
And synergizes with the ETC. And then last, I mean, maybe a Greymane?
Yeah, and the Greymane is picked already, of course. Maybe Gleaming. Oh, it's going to be Tyrael. Wow. Solo Assassin Tracer. Some boss control with Holy Ground level 16 talent on Tyrael.
I didn't think that would be a warrior, to be honest.
Yeah, same. I thought maybe a mage.
Yeah, beyond kind of going blind on the Greymane who got picked, I mean, even then I would have felt like it probably would have been a backliner. I don't mind the Tyrael. It just accents that boss control that much more, and if somehow we do see the mosh pit direction being taken.
It's also a role thing. Poik is both the mage and the tracer.
It's a good call.
And Karazim is going to be Zelia. Tassadar probably Snitch. Tyrael is Wooby.
Zarya. What do you think?
I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Just because it's going to be another set of resources that you can stop Tracer from being a problem?
Yeah, you can use the shields to protect against the pulse rounds. Zarya is great early game, and Tyrael doesn't come online that early yet. I would like to see BTG not rely on Garrosh flips. That's never going to work against a team like Dignitas to be like, oh, level 1, get a free kill with Garrosh. I don't think it'll happen. Flip you over the gate? No way. Instead, park Garrosh in a lane, soak XP, only punish people that attack towers at melee by flipping them over, park Greymane somewhere, or Lucio, probably Greymane, and then you push with Zarya, level 1, feel the heat, Lucio, and Rhaegar. And just attack towers, protect with all your survivability when you get rotated on.
Do you have any argument for not going feel the heat in this game?
Grenade talent is 100% useless against double support. You have my allies deal damage, I get more energy. That's like pretty much whatever. It doesn't help you. You get a bit of energy, you don't need it. No, I think it's feel the heat. In fact, I think everyone should take feel the heat on Zarya.
We're about to figure out. First off, though, is Dignitas in blue. Zelia on Karazim, Snitch playing Tassadar, Poik on Tracer, ETC played by JPL, and you saw Wubby on Tyrael.
So feel the heat, for those that may not know, as ST, Greymane, A, Lucio, 619. Anyway, feel the heat. You know these guys, they're super cool. Let's cheer for their first win. Feel the heat does 50% more damage on your auto attack as Zarya to anyone that's fairly close to you, about melee or a range 2. And it's a great sieging tool. And there we go, he's got it.
He's gonna go with Feel the Heat. Now the 5-man collab on bottom. Some of the fastest siege in the entire game. SC though, maybe out a bit too far. Zelia there with the pack the punch. It's going to scare him away for a moment.
Okay, now Dignitas is going to be very much of a nuisance. They know BTG will have to spread out, and they're going to try and dismount people. Look at JPL with ETC, he's going to soak top. No one top yet for BTG.
It's going to be a lot of experience lost on this map if nobody makes the rotation up there.
Oh, maybe this is a Rhaegar double laning situation.
I don't know if they can necessarily get away with that, though. Even though Karazim does not provide enough individual laning or wave clear on his own, nor does ETC, it's very easy with the lack of pressure being available for the comp that BTG has with that trio on bottom. They could just legitimately just send Tassadar up for the rotation, make sure he can match with Rhaegar even better.
Yep. Zarya wastes her shield cooldowns, not baited by Dignitas, no energy added. That means You know, when Zarya's pink bar is empty, she does almost no damage. When it's full, she's the best hero in the game. And so all you gotta do is don't attack her or her allies when she puts the shields, and you'll largely remove her teeth. Now, BTG not able to do an early game siege damage yet with that Field of Heat, and I would like to see whether, if Dignitas undercommits to bottom lane, then BTG could do a heavy push. But Dignitas is playing it just right. They're doing all 3 lanes and 1 temple while defending with 2 against 3.
And because they know that BTG is not being that effective on bottom, they aren't being too proactive up in the top lane. They're in a situation to where they can legitimately just keep the Karazim there, make the transfer and be responsive, look for the skirmish with the Task Tracer, and then find advantageous shots both in mid and towards top. So it's on to BTG to try and make the play and stop the bleeding, but with the power slide, the boop's still up, and the body blocks being real, MJ actually will be able to make it out thanks to A coming in there with that Lucio.
Just realized Wooby is on ETC, by the way.
Yeah, you know, I got the names backwards at first because the graphic went down. I didn't think that we would see the JPL onto the Tyrael.
Okay, all that means is that ETC will go stage dive. Wooby is the offlaner.
Yeah, he is.
It would be so funny if Wooby actually went mosh pit.
I would like to see it. It works with the Tyrael pretty well.
But it's just not how they play their roles. But it'll be such a surprise.
Level lead for Dignitas is Poik is being the most annoying Tracer EU.
Yeah, they're all pretty annoying.
Yeah, that's true. JPL's finding a good time down below. Never have I seen a split push Tyrael have that big of a free lane, but whenever you see that, it's got to be a nice time. That's that Garrosh interaction we were talking about before. Forces the recall into Poik. BTG's got to capitalize on the fact that that cooldown is down. Pull in with that Groundbreaker, but not quite enough to secure a kill.
So BTG protecting the rest of the laser shots here. Good job by them. They'll be having to meet at the middle to get some XP.
I will say I didn't think that they would get that many shots both on the top shrine. The middle one made a lot of sense considering Dignitas got more than what they considered acceptable in the middle shots, but particularly BTG's effectiveness into that top lane with the skirmish-oriented composition out of Dig. They pretty much comfortably just said, okay, you can have this, and now they're doing so on top too. This is very strange.
Risky though. 4v4 soon. Talent down. That's really good. Burning Wooby's cooldowns means he's no longer an engaged threat. That means probably BTG gets out here without any victims.
Quite good dodge on his Groundbreaker. But just the fact that the rotation came out from Dig, they're responding to Beyond the Game on this map, which is...
That's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. Even though they aren't winning into the experience, they're doing a good enough job of trying to dictate where Dignitas goes that oftentimes Dig is not getting, it looks like, at least out of the shrine in particular, as much as they want.
And this is where I think Zarya gets either explosive barrier to deal with Tyrael, ETC, Karazim, and even Tracer to a degree. When her shield explodes, she deals damage. Or maybe hit me, the 4th choice. And it's actually gonna, wow, that really surprises me. He takes the particle center damage, 35% bonus damage on the center of grenades.
Even though it's not synergizing with that level 1 like we normally see.
You don't get the cooldown reduction from level 1. So when you have Field of Heat Zarya, your auto attacks are almost always better DPS than the grenade. So you purely save, you don't spam the grenades. You don't even grenade people at melee, ever. That would be a mortal sin. You would just use grenades to try and finish people off that would otherwise get away. Pretty hard against such a mobile team of Dignitas, but if you land it center, that's a lot of bonus damage.
Especially on Tracer, if there's a world where she doesn't have a Tacitar shield, you know, she takes a bit too much damage. Maybe the supports aren't there to be able to help her. The grenade, if the center does hit her, is quite a bit of her maximum HP.
That's very true.
We got ourselves the next shrine phase on bottom. The pretty big advantage and experience for Dignitas, so much so that they might try and wait out their 10s. And judging by the body language of Wubby there in the top lane, that very much is going to be the decision. So BTG needs to get on these shots ASAP. Dignitas is now not only gaining experience faster because of the pressure they're getting here, but more importantly, by the fact that BTG was unable to get on these shots on bottom, they're now losing shots down below, they're losing up on mid, and I feel like they're going to be losing a lot more.
ETC is very close to level 10. That means he can stage dive and collapse on the bottom lane. There we go with that stage dive, Sanctification. And BTG is committing to the shrine. Very smart pullback. They could feel the way that the water was turning.
I've never heard that phrase before.
I don't think it's a phrase.
Well, I think you nailed it.
Does water even turn? Does a river sometimes flow upwards? Do elephants fly in the sky?
Fluid dynamics are crazy, man. Don't ask me.
When the sun rises in the west.
Shots of the bottom lane with that Shrine and the 10 advantage that Dignitas has accumulated in this game without a single kill, by the way. No one has a kill, but Dignitas just through purely from rotations able to get that advantage. They did not get the bottom fort, but there's no mule even an option for this teams to try and heal it back up. Dignitas is winning in the structures, just even though it's not gotten a major fort or a major structure to call their own.
Oh yeah, they're so healthy. There's 1 HP on bottom fort.
About 25% in mid, and top's even looking at least, you know, 90.
95, 90. Now BTG, they have Expulsion Zone on Zarya.
Look at Poik. I love the positioning he's got there. Very aggressive. He's been in that shrub for a long while. See, they don't know he's collapsing. Now you've just body block off. This is something, this is not the first time we've seen this in this tournament. It draws an Ancestral. Wubby, he's going to go ahead and stage dive.
See ya.
Right back to the squad. But it's a very, very big power play for anyone at home that wants to try and punish anybody moving into the vision, because by the time they break the grass line, they no longer are able to see you. So then you just expect they're going down to I. You can keep track of that, even though you because you can see them because you control it yourself, right? Get the collapse, focus in, get a gank. It is near impossible to be able to take over that whenever you have people with aggressive positioning like Poik just had.
Yeah, very cool. Stage dive not available for 40 seconds. This is something BTG can leverage, and they are actually trying that. They know they don't want to face level 13 talents. Ooh, dimensional shift, long cooldown.
Even though it might not be necessary.
Dig has to give it away. No stage dive. I like this. You know, do you just force a boss?
I think bottom fort is where I would like to see that force, but yes, force something because
Wubby stage dive is coming back. Wubby is
he's making it, you know, a problem up on top, losing structures for free, even though that was a great invade again from beyond the game. Now they're playing reactionary, though they had a small window. They cannot boop. They have to wait till the stage dive. Wait for it.
He should be dead.
Wait for it.
It's Wubby though. He'll probably be fine.
Power slide. Stage dive?
Fright?
No way.
Okay, he got away. That's where did the sound wave go?
The sound wave just, I believe, was unable to hit him within the range. Just Wubby got too far away with the power slide. Yeah. And then with the stage dive, it's enough to get him out of there.
PT for BTG, that was their best chance to be making a bit of a comeback. Warlord's challenge misses again. Second time in a row, by the way. Now and about 1 or 2 minutes ago because of that face smell.
4-man for Dignitas. Keep in mind, Tyrion's still on bottom, getting the shots down there. So the fact that this is a 4 vs 5, Poik gets flipped. He's going to go ahead and drop a pulse bomb onto MJ. Draws out a sound barrier.
I think the barrier also hit after the pulse bomb.
It did. And that was 4 vs 5. BTG chose that fight, and they're the ones losing cooldowns. So I think the best way to put this is that is absolutely worst case scenario.
But, you know, the cooldowns come back. The problem is BTG is losing a lot of structures. 3 forts down against 6.
It didn't cost him a kill, though. Nobody's died yet. We are still sitting at a killless Sky Temple game 10 minutes in.
Pretty rare.
Extremely rare on Sky.
Yeah, and still, you know, even though we know BTG is not the favorite by any means in any of the matchups that they've played so far, still one of their better games.
They're reaching, you know, the average game time already, and it's very, I think it's a reasonable assumption to say they will, so yeah.
Starting the boss now. They're hoping to bleed into level 13 during the midst of this, and then to have a somewhat neutral fight.
They do have Expulsion Zone, which provides a bit of boss control, but I wouldn't say
face melt, Sanct.
Yeah, Sanct, Holy Ground's coming up soon. I wouldn't give them the upper hand by any means, but it's a silver lining with this composition. It's one of the better boss control spells in the game. Dignitas is going to start it up themselves. They have Tassadar anchoring, ETC controlling vision. They're all just making sure that even if BTG makes the transfer down, it's going to be far too slow. Yeah.
And that means Dignitas will get the boss. By the time this boss is landing, next temple will come up.
We'll say that Snitch's lack of force wall or auto attack there almost cost them a little bit more on that boss than maybe they were hoping for.
Looks like Dignitas is going to push with the top wave, or do they just keep Wooby only there? Push mid? Wait, they're doing a three-pronged attack?
So at this point, you can't end the game reliably unless you wipe everybody on Beyond the Game on this bottom keep. So what you do is you cycle mid, ensure that it's a triple keep play no matter what happens over the next shrine phase, and Wubby is being absolutely uncontested up there. So just prepping all the lanes to be a problem, and then you just go shrines are game. The only time that you see these kind of middle game lulls where somehow the team winning struggles on a map like Sky Temple is when they're assuming that they're going to be able to hold their own. They lose a skirmish, and then in the late game they have to trade to where their opponent somehow is winning the shrine that gets a keep. Which, that being said, Dignitas has so much of a structural advantage, I don't think that they have to approach it with this mentality.
They never have to skirmish.
But it is very much like, unlike all the other cases of safe we have had today, this is the actually safest. They are being as proactive and effective to winning the game while not risking a thing.
So it's not about which keeps you tickle, which keep walls you hurt.
Prepping the shrines.
Just purely any single point of damage anywhere is the same as anywhere else, and then you get the lasers and it ends up going to the keeps eventually.
I mean, generally you see the priority go bottom, mid, and then top, right? Because those are the highest probability of the shots and the boss control mixed with the mercenaries. But it's very much, it's any way you can get it is very much
truly is the safest, not just pushing with the boss.
Because if you push with the boss, that's the only opportunity that maybe you can make that mistake. Now, that being said, most people would say you have 16 talent to your advantage, you have a boss with you. If you make that kind of mistake, you deserve to lose this game.
Right,
but
that's maybe true on other maps, but not here.
And the better shot caller asks, well, why did I have to risk the game in the first place?
Right. And so Dignitas might be looking to win the first game of the tournament without any takedowns on either side, as they have zero reason to commit to anything.
Look at this. Wubby's keeping two members on top. Poik and Snitch have already gotten the shielding to 85%. Now JPL is going to go ahead and start the shots on mid. Dimensional shift on the Groundbreaker means this is going to be a clean escape as another force wall just available. Pulse Bomb forces the Ancestral. Not maybe necessary.
Armor up, Ancestral, both used.
See if we can see BTG maybe turn this around in this top shrine, because it feels like it is going to be the last hope, as that top keep is the last thing that stops these shots from hitting their core.
Very educational loss for BTG, I think, looking at this.
It's, I think, one of the best case examples of a dismantling I feel like I've seen in a long while. The fact that this is unkilled and Dignitas is just in such dominant control. I mean,
If quick match is quick match, then this is about the opposite that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All the kills for no reason, instead 0 kills for all the reason, is what Dignitas is doing here.
And they have said that they are ready to end this. The stage dive, the full clump up, they use the sanctification, and Beyond the Game does not have enough to be able to stop that damage.
Is that a record? 0-0 takedowns?
I don't think it is the only 0 kill game in competitive history over the past year, but it has got to be only the second. I'm not going to say the entirety that I haven't seen it, because I feel like I very much have. And I can definitely say in the entire competitive Heroes of the Storm history, it has happened. Probably under 10 times, though. That's crazy.
Dignitas didn't want to hurt BTG too bad, so they didn't kill any of the heroes. That's nice, I think. But yeah, thanks for playing BTG. It's not over for them yet. They will be 8th in the tournament, but they will face the number 5 team of the group phase in the knockout round in 3 days from now. Of course, we have more games today as well. But that's BTG's story. Dignitas now is 2nd, and they will face Ballistics, who is 3rd. KSV is 1st, and they will meet Fnatic, who is 4th. This is in the winner bracket, the upper bracket. But there's one more decision to be made. Who will be 5th? And it's between CE and Roll20. CE, I would say, without a doubt, the best performing Chinese team of the tournament so far.
Absolutely. But
SPT against Fnatic, Game 2, looked really good as well.
Yeah.
And so, where Roll20 is right now, if they lose 1 or 2 maps against CE, they will face SPT, who now looks a lot more scary than they did yesterday.
Very much so.
If Roll20 wins 2-0 against CE, and only then, they will overtake CE's 5th place spot to face BTG, who we just saw. And in theory, you would rather face BTG than SPT.
Very much so. You know, and again, as you said, looking at today's results, that only furthers that kind of thought process.
Right.
You know, beyond maybe the performance level, beyond the game of their own. SPT brought out the fangs and claws here today, and I think everybody's got to be kind of re-evaluating on maybe how much confidence they have. MVP of a killless game. I want to know how we determine that one, but it's going to be Tyrael played by JPL.
Yeah, I mean, that split push at level 7, the way he was attacking those towers with Tyrael.
Yeah, have you ever seen like how fast the Tyrael shield break will using that 7 talent? The wave clear, I mean, my goodness, the micro displayed by JPL. He furthered those minions faster than any other solo split push Tyrael really ever has.
Yeah, I mean, there was some Raynor level laning. Shields on all the minions. Raynor gives attack speed. Impressive.
That's the second Raynor reference in one broadcast.
I love Jimmy. We're going to have a small break here. This was Dreadnought and Grubby. Thanks for watching. We have one more awesome match coming up for you. Can roll 20, win 2-0 against CE to take 5th and face BTG in the first knockout stage. Coming right up.